Raw and Nerdy.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Raw and Nerdy. This is episode number 41. I am Joe the Widget, and I am joined by my fellow co-host, starting with Mr. Rook.
What's up, everybody? Let's get to it.
And we're joined, as always, by Archon.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I can't believe I missed episode 40. What the heck, man?
Yeah, well, you had a lot going on that day from what we were told.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had. It was a rough week, but I'll talk about that when I get into my week. So,
You just want to jump right into that?
well, okay, I guess I can. I missed last week because I had a grandpa that was not doing too well. He ended up passing away Monday, and yeah, so a lot of my week involved spending a lot of time with family and, the funeral and all that fun stuff. No regrets though. I mean, he was 95. He was married to my grandma for 75 years. So, I mean, he lived a really long, full and fruitful life, and it was just he was ready. So, he decided to stop fighting pneumonia and said, I want to say goodbye to everybody. I want to talk to everybody, and then I'm going to close my eyes and be done. And that's exactly what he did. I don't know how he did it the way he did, but he did it exactly the way he wanted to. So
Most people cannot say that they were able to do that. Well, they won't say anything anymore, but
yeah, it was just the way he said it and the way it happened exactly that way. Like, he went to sleep that night and that was it. Just turn the lights off. But yeah, on a more positive note though, still playing EverQuest. That's my go-to game right now. I'm Evercrack addict again. Can't help it. But me and the boys this week, if you've been on Discord, you know this. We started a Madden franchise season, and we're trying to get more people to jump in with us. And I've been having a lot of fun with that. I haven't played Madden in a while and forgot how much I'm not as good as I thought I was at the game.
yeah, I haven't played since like 2019, and our resident expert over here had it on like
All pro.
all pro, and it was kicking the snot out of me and Archon completely.
Yeah. I'm like sitting there playing, and like I get halfway through the first game, I'm like, well, the first preseason game, I'm like, what difficulty do you have this set on? And Rook just starts laughing. I'm like, really?
I'm so used to setting it to all pro that I didn't even think twice about it. So I set it to rookie, and then the very first game on rookie, I had a 101-7 win, and I was
Yeah,
like,
I'm kinda
"This is the
worried."
reason why."
I was telling Rook, I was like, I'm kind of worried because even on rookie on my second game, I only beat the other team by like 60 points, and these guys are beating them by like 100. So,
Well, we
Ugh.
boosted it back up to pro, not all pro.
really? No, I'll be lucky to get a
Pro.
win.
No, you'll get a win on pro.
I hope so. But yeah, I've been having a little fun with that. It's a little bit different than my usual game. Like, I'm usually more of like an MMO type player. So to play Madden, and then I was like thinking about, was it you? It was you guys I was talking to about this. I'm pretty sure, about how they should make like an MMO Madden type game where each person gets to pick like their own player and like build a team based on the players you pick, and then like you play a game of football with each person controlling their own player. That would be a sweet game, wouldn't it?
So what they should, they already have the basis for that in Madden. What they should do is, instead of letting you just pick coach or owner, they should also let you pick a player, and that's all you do is focus on the player.
Well, yeah, except for like then also team up with like 32 other people and then like have big MMO style games where you're playing with like, one person's running the QB, you're running the running back, somebody else is running the receiver, and like you guys
All on
are
the same
playing as a
team.
team together. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That would be sweet.
You can do something similar in not split screen, but couch co-op. Same console co-op, you can do that, but for some reason they don't give you that option online.
Yeah, but that's just, again, that's only like what, up to 4 people. I mean, I'm talking like they'll have the whole team be made of individual people. Where it's like you're out in the backyard playing football, but on your computer.
So I was telling the guys when I first got hired at SCEA way back, It was the last football game that they were producing for the PlayStation 1. That's how far back it was. And they actually had it set for 16 player setup. 8-on-8 setup that you can have 8 people on one team and 8 people on the other team. It wasn't for a season or anything like that. It was just an individual game. But yeah, players all pick their different.
Full MMO where you make your own league and everything, and you have like instead of a server, it's a league, and everybody is on their team. They got to go to practice. Like,
See, what's funny is they got something like that for baseball, or they did several years ago. I don't know if it's still around.
It's like a full like NFL simulator. That'd be sweet, like an MMO simulator. Anyway, so still into the Wheel of Time. Finished book 12. I'm on book 13 now, which I've heard from a lot of people that like the end of this book could have been the end. Like it closes up enough to where it could have been the end of the series, but there is a book 14 that kind of, the aftermath type of book. So like I'm expecting the main story to like close up in this book, and so good. It's amazing though, since Brandon Sanderson took over in book 11 though, like it was getting down to where it was like each book was 24 to 25 hours, and then Brandon Sanderson took over, who's known for being incredibly descriptive, and now it's back up to like 38 hours a book. The last book was supposed to be one book, and it ended up being 3 books that are almost 38 hours each. Yep, that's Brandon Sanderson.
Nice.
But yeah, so I'm getting pretty close to that, and then I'm on the hunt for my next series I want to start once I'm done with these. So I'm looking for suggestions. Anybody got any good suggestions on another series I should start?
Depends upon which kind of
I'm telling you, man. I've said it 1,000 times. Beware of chicken.
Yeah, I know you could. But okay, so I have some qualifications for my series. Number 1, I'm a very, very impatient person. So I want a series that is complete, that I don't have to wait for the next book. Or a series that the next book doesn't rely on, or the book won't end with me having to wait for another one. Like, the next book isn't necessarily relying on the last one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I want a series that's, preferably one that's complete, so that I could just listen through the whole series. I don't want to listen to the first 6 books and then have to sit and wait for a year and a half for book 7 to come out, because that'll drive me bananas.
Thankfully, they've been releasing a Beware of Chicken every 6 months, but I'm the same way on that, except for the fact that most series don't have completed yet, and all my favorite series are not completed yet.
I know a lot of people keep telling me to jump into a Brandon Sanderson series, but a lot of his series are in the middle and not done yet, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, waiting for a series to be finished, you're gonna be waiting. It's very, very short list.
Well, there's a few. Like, one suggestion I've gotten is the Sword of Truth series, which is completed. I've heard that. If I like the Wheel of Time, that would be a really good one to go to next, because it's like on the same caliber.
I recommend Jim Butcher's The Dresden Files series. It currently is not complete. There's still like 4 more books that need to be done, but there are 17 novels currently, and they're narrated by James Marsden.
Oh,
the
nice.
guy who played Smite, the guy who played Spike off of Buffy. And they're well written. They're fun to read or listen to, and I really liked them. It took me 9 months to get through all of them.
Yeah, but then I'll be waiting again if there's still 4 more.
What about the Dragon Riders of Pern?
No, that's another good series.
That's a big series, yeah.
That one is completed.
Could be a good one. And we met the author's son.
Yep.
So, who's starting to write some of his own Pern books.
Well, spin-offs, but yeah.
Yeah, spin-offs, yeah.
I mean, might as well, right? His mom wrote them. I guess he technically would have right to the IP.
Like, I have that other series. Gosh, I can't remember her name. The lady that we interviewed at WonderCon. I have her series, which looks pretty cool, too. Like, she gave me, the first 2 books? But, again, that one's not done.
SG?
Yeah, SG. That's it. Okay. Sorry if you're listening that I forgot.
So the reason why I keep mentioning Dresden Files is it's also a series that after book 17, if you have to wait to pick up the next book, it's a complete series. Each book is by itself a standalone book. They go
Oh,
back
okay.
and talk about what happened in previously and whatnot through memories and all that. So you don't have to know everything that happened in the past or remember everything that happened in the past for the new book.
Another good one is the Zant series. It's been running since 1974. Pierce Anthony's been writing it. He still does a book every year, but each book is a standalone story that is tied into an overall world timeline and arc. So you
Okay.
can read each book individually, and like what Rook just said, you won't get lost.
Well, then I
Or
got my
the
homie's
Legend of
book.
Drizzt.
I got my homie's book, but his book is not Audible, so I can't read it
No,
while I'm
still
driving.
trying to get Audible to pick it up. They're being stubborn.
And who knows when the third book's coming out on that?
Yeah, I know. I gotta get on it.
Yeah.
You can also do the Legend of Drizzt. As far as I'm aware, that one
Ooh, I've heard
should
those
be
are good.
done.
Those are what R.A. Salvatore.
Yep.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
Yeah, I've heard those are pretty good.
And there's a ton of them.
Yeah, there's a few authors like Terry Goodkind, R.A. Salvatore,
I think I
Brandon
listened to
Sanderson.
those when they were on CD.
Like dude,
As
I used to have the audio cassettes of some of the Harry Potter books. The cassettes.
We're
Yeah.
dating ourselves here really easy.
Dude,
Yeah.
if you read
Some of our
Legend,
listeners are like, "What's a cassette?"
if you read the Legend or listen to the Legend of Drizzt series, there's 39 novels as of August 15th, 2023. So you'd be reading for a while.
That took me at least 39 months because I got to wait for my credit every month. Holy cow! Wait until I can get them as like a bundle for 1 credit.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a lot.
Hey, it'd keep you busy.
But I mean, basically, that's my week. So if you have any suggestions, Discord, drop them in. I'd be interested to hear what people have to suggest. So
I do recommend Dragonlance: The Chronicles. It's a 3 novel series with some others that tie in to fill some gaps and whatnot. But all the novels are already released and whatnot, so they're easy to read, and it's actually a really good story.
I was over at Rook's today, and his house is looking pretty sharp.
I know, right? It looks
Sharp.
like
there's
a.
nothing left in the house that is sharp.
Actually, no, my knife is in the house, so there is something sharp. No, so I've been busy, busy with my house to get it on the market. So, July 8th, all the movers came and packed up all my stuff, and so now it looks like I live in a bachelor pad because my TV is on a folding table. The only hard, solid furniture I have is the desk my laptop is currently sitting on.
You look like you live in a college dorm room, bachelor.
He looks like a bachelor pad, yeah. You know what you need?
Yeah.
Cinder bricks and a board.
The problem is that would make a mess, and I'm trying to keep my carpet clean.
True, he just got new carpet put in.
TV trays. Just put everything on TV trays.
My PlayStation's on a TV tray. My router is on a TV tray. We were using a TV tray today as our table between two
Fold-up chairs.
fold-up chairs, camping
A
chairs.
milk crate. Find yourself a milk crate.
But it's a price I'm paying because all my stuff's been packed up, shipped out to Texas. So it's in Texas in storage until I get out there and get a home. So I'm actually finally about to leave California. But while Widget was here, the Texas Rangers won the World Series in
Woohoo!
2023. But the difference was instead of playing against the Diamondbacks, we played against the LA Dodgers. Both times we controlled the pitcher, we smoked them, except for one. We had one loss.
Yeah, that was like our first loss after a long time
Yeah.
of us playing it.
First game, we shut them out. I think it was,
8-0.
8-0. Second game, we lost 4-3. The computer won 13-5. Then the computer lost by 1 run, and it
Like
was
3 to 4 or something like that.
something like that. And then we came back and won 13-0.
Yep. Complete just domination of it.
Well, remember this.
Domination.
Remember, this is the 2023 team, so they don't have Otani hitting home runs left and right. Like we had Corey Seager, two creative characters hitting home runs left and right.
Left, right, down the middle. Otani hits them everywhere. He's not prejudiced.
Now, we didn't hit one down the middle in this game.
No, mostly
Surprisingly.
the
You
right
didn't have
side.
Otani. I said Otani hits him. He's not prejudiced. You guys didn't have Otani.
Every time we played against
Ohtani.
the Angels, I struck him out every chance I could get.
There was one time he had a near home run, and I got to the wall and caught it with the center
Ooh.
fielder.
Yeah, I remember that. And I had a vendetta against him at that rest of that game and struck him out 3 times after that.
Oh yeah, so it was fun. Sadly, we were looking and seeing if we could do MLB The Show 24 online like that, but it's head to head, or 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3, or an expedition game. They don't have an actual season like Madden does, where you can at least just take control of separate teams and whatnot.
Well, that would take forever.
And the only baseball game that EA has is complete garbage.
Yes,
Because
So
in baseball they play like a ridiculous number of games.
162 games.
Where at least in football a season only lasts 17 games and you're done.
But see, this is where I think producers are missing out on a big opportunity, and they're missing out on it a lot because Madden doesn't do it, MLB doesn't do it, EA Sports doesn't do it.
Doesn't do what?
Having you play on the same team during a season
yeah,
Yeah.
online.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about earlier. I wonder if you could do that on the new college football game
No, EA Sports does not do that.
at all.
Nope. It's just like we're doing it on our game.
Well, I know that they said that the new college football game had a few new options that haven't been in any of their other games before. So I didn't know if maybe that was one of them.
No, it's not. But I don't get why it's like that either.
I don't know.
Because when you sit there and play with each other on the same console, you have to log in under your name, and it registers your name as being logged into the console along with me. So I don't know why they can't just do it online. I don't know if it's more code they have to write or what.
I don't know. It'd be fun.
I agree.
I think they're missing out on some major money if they with my idea, man, making an MMO football game.
Yeah.
There's a ton of people willing to pay a ton of money just to buy a new Madden game every single year. Imagine what they'd do if they could do something like that.
Yeah. I wish they would just take off of creating another Madden for 2 years and actually make a good Madden.
Not just kind of tweak
No.
things a little bit here and there, call it good,
It's not about,
update
it's
rosters.
not about quality. It's about quantity.
That's the EA motto.
EA's motto is to make money any way they possibly can, including microtransactions,
I hate
which I've
microtransactions.
learned Madden has a lot of.
I know people have a lot of differing opinions on this. My opinion is microtransactions ruin video games.
Yeah,
I'm cool with microtransactions for, say,
For cosmetic stuff.
that's what word I was looking for, cosmetic stuff.
Yeah, cosmetic stuff. That's fine. But when you make a game pay to win, like, oh, you can only unlock these 99 skill players if you pay us money. Well, that's
it's like almost all mobile games now. The whole
Then-
free-to-play concept ruined a lot of gaming.
like, I'll be completely honest with you. For a long time, I played, and I did it without spending any money, but I played Diablo Immortal when it came out on mobile because that game was a lot of fun. And you could play the port of it on PC as well, which made it so much fun. But you get to a certain wall where like you just can't compete with anybody after that if you don't pay hundreds of dollars. And
And
I'm
see,
just
that's
not going to do that to play a game.
So that's one thing I do like about Star Trek Online. Their free-to-play model, yes, you can buy cooler ships and whatnot, but you can still be really successful with their baseline stuff that you can buy in-game.
Well, it's sad to say, but even with EverQuest, like EverQuest, you could buy these things called Chrono, which when you right-click a Chrono, it gives you 1 month of game time.
Mhm.
But they cost $17.99 on the Daybreak store. But they've turned those into a currency. Like, I'll sell you this item for 5 Chrono,
Mhm.
and like,
WoW did the same thing.
yeah, WoW's got the WoW tokens, but you can't trade WoW tokens with players though. But you can get gold with them and buy stuff with that. Like, you can
It's just-
sell the WoW tokens for gold. But it's like, it's one thing. Like, okay, so I found an item the other day. Like, I was doing something. I found an item that I sold for 5 Chrono. That's cool. But when somebody can go on and just buy those 5 chrono and start out the game just as good as I've gotten to level 60 and had to farm this item. And now they just started the game yesterday and they could buy the same gear I can with their 5 chrono that they just paid money for. It's like, that's dumb. Like,
That's a pay to win style model.
it sucks. I mean, in a game like this, it works. I mean, whatever, it can work. But like a game like Madden, like you log into a random game on Madden and just get absolutely smashed by somebody who's got all 99 level players because Daddy has a trust fund.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That was fun. I'm glad I wasted that hour.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I'm
But
kind of
I have
surprised they don't do it in like Call of Duty, where you can get like better guns and stuff.
it would make the game completely unbalanced to where nobody would play it. Activision
Yeah.
isn't. Activision might be greedy, but they're not that dumb.
Yeah, but I mean, some of the hacks and stuff they use in that game make it pretty much unplayable already. Anyway,
What's this
So how-
about Star Trek Online?
Oh yeah, I've gotten back into Star Trek Online. I jump back into it every now and then. It's one of my favorite games to play because it's Star Trek and it's online and it's an MMO.
what? Hold
I
on,
know,
wait.
right?
Star Trek Online is a Star Trek game that you can play online? No way,
Yeah, I know, right? But
dude.
I like the concept of when you're playing the game, you control the ship, and then you can get a landing party, go down to the ground, and do missions there. It's actually got some good stories and whatnot, and some of the stuff they used in Picard. Yeah, in Picard, some of the ships they used there were actually from Star Trek Online. Mhm.
That is one that I've never played. Of course, that's not surprising if you know me and know I'm not the biggest Trekkie. But like, I don't know. That's one MMO that I've just never played.
Neither
It-
have I. They came out a while ago, didn't it?
2011.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
been around a while.
played it. It is one of 2 in recent years that I've played at launch that I've reserved. The other one being Star Trek, Star Wars: The Old Republic.
He says one of 2 in recent years. It came out in 2011.
Yeah, that's
2011 is not recent, buddy.
those are the most recent games that I've actually for MMOs that I've purchased and been anxious to play.
Yeah, the Old Republic was a while ago too.
For me, it was the first 2 WoW expansions.
I was never big into WoW when they first came out. I
Yeah,
was playing Star Wars Galaxies at the time.
I was big into this game, and I got actually invited to Blizzard's headquarters to see this new game they were playing, or they were making. So, because I was in like one of the top guilds in EverQuest back in the day, so me and my buddy got invited, and right from the go, I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna play this game." And we were in beta, and we ended up being in like right there, right on launch day with WoW too. So
I've been listening to a book called Beers and Beards.
beards and beards. Oh,
Yeah,
that
I've been in
sounds-
this weird kick ever since Beware of Chicken came out. I've been looking for these like lighthearted fantasy style books. Now,
Mhm.
mind you, this one is more akin to what's the name of that series where it's based like video game mechanics? Why can't I
Ready
think of
Player
it?
One?
No, there's an
Ready
actual like genre for it.
I forgot what they call them.
Yeah.
They're adventure novels.
Not really. There's a
They're
name
ch-
for it.
They're not choose your own adventures, but it's like you're playing D&D or whatnot, but reading a book, right?
Like the world is based off of like a video background. Like characters have these pull up character sheets that they have in the game, and they gain stats and they do quests, and there's an actual name for it, and I completely spaced it.
Is that what Beers and Beards is?
Yeah,
Yeah, just Google it. It'll probably tell you.
Yeah, it
Uh,
will.
I probably googled the wrong thing because it did not come up with a name for me.
Beards and Beers? That's
Yeah.
a barbershop.
It's on the
Okay,
tip of
there
my
it is.
tongue too.
Book 3, The Big Brouhaha.
Yeah, it's a very
I like
tongue-in-cheek
that word.
book.
I like that word.
They call it a portal fantasy.
This is gonna drive me nuts because I listened to a few of them here and there, and
They call it a cozy fantasy adventure.
Well, yeah, that's the kind of what I've been looking for, but there's an actual name in the series, the type of series. I'll remember at some point in the show, and then
A literary RPG.
lit RPG. Thank you. Ah, they're called lit RPGs, and they're interesting style of book, but I get kind of burnout on them a little bit. But this one's interesting in the fact that it's one of those lighthearted, and it's not about adventuring and slaying monsters. It's about something completely different. Like this guy from our world who used to be this popular brewer in Canada, owned a brewery, died, and wound up in this fantasy world as a dwarf, where they have really bad beer, and it's the holy brew, and they can't change it. And his whole mission is to make the beer better.
Did you know there's a book too?
Oh yeah, there's like 3 or 4 books in it.
I like the title, A Beautiful Life.
Yeah. I actually bought the second book for Heretic Fishing or Fishing Heretic or something like that. The one I was complaining about earlier, but actually wound up liking the last book I read. Heretical Fishing, that's what it was. I bought the second book. After this beer and beards, I'm gonna listen to that one. But thank you for your help, Brooke. That was driving me insane.
My pleasure.
I've been weighing myself at the gym every Friday or every Saturday because I've been going to the gym consistently, hitting my 5 days a week. I only take Tuesday and Friday off, doing my diet, and yet the last 2 times I weighed myself, I was 197.
Yeah,
Okay.
that just means that you're losing the same amount of mass you're gaining, so that's fine.
Yeah, I'm
That's
down.
not a terrible thing.
I'm down a size and a half in the pant size, and I'm definitely look a lot thinner, but I've also gained more muscle mass. So it's definitely at that balance where the fat and the muscle weight are balancing each other out.
Yeah,
The fat loss.
see, when I start, it's going to be insane how fast it sheds because I am a big boy that needs to lose a lot. So it's going to seem like, holy cow, how did you lose that much weight in 1 week? That's unhealthy. But it's really not because, yeah, I just have a lot to lose. So.
Well, I lost 14 pounds in just over like 5-6 weeks. So
Yeah, the last time
Yeah,
I
that's
went on
not
a
bad.
diet, I lost 14 pounds in less than 2 weeks.
Now that's pushing it, according to some nutritionists.
yeah, that could be considered almost unhealthy.
That's what you say, but all I was doing was I was eating like 2,200 calories a day, which is perfectly fine, and exercising. I just have a lot of extra. I was at like almost 280 then.
Now the question is how much of that was actually also water weight, and how much of that did you sweat out?
Right. That's also true. I probably did lose quite a bit of water weight.
So I turned 40 last week, and I didn't get any new
Yay.
aches and pains, but I've realized I'm starting to slowly get a little bit bigger, so I need to hurry up and start hitting the gym sooner.
Get it done.
You know,
Instead of
thing to
hitting
do
the
for-
gym, you should walk into it and use the weights and work out.
Man, I was told hitting the concrete of the gym will really get my
Yeah.
muscles going.
And
Yeah,
broken
get 'em
bones
going
and
to the
broken
hospital.
skin.
Just ask my daughter what it's like hitting something. She'll tell you.
Yeah, work's been a nightmare. Since I'm in charge of cybersecurity, I had this weird idea that I was dumb enough to mention to my boss because we didn't have any contingency plans for any kind of event for cybersecurity. So, like, what would happen if we got hit with a ransomware attack, which is the big thing going around right now for companies, and losing millions of dollars from them?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, of course, I got tasked with writing these contingency plans on what exactly has to be done step by step if an event this occurs. So I've been very, very busy with that.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, and a lot of hardware stuff. I'm going to San Diego from Tuesday to Friday next week. It's gonna be a blast. And I started watching Demon Slayer on Netflix. It's an anime, but it was recommended to me by someone very, very important to me, so I'm watching it. I'm like 5 episodes in right now. And the first 2 episodes drove me nuts because it was a way stereotypical anime, where the inner monologue of the main character was 90% of the whole entire show.
Oh, dude.
So you'd have like 5 minutes inner monologue for 20 seconds of actual story.
You know what my favorite Netflix, like, quote-unquote anime is?
Hmm.
The Castlevania series.
That was actually a good series.
It was very good. It
No?
was way better than I was expecting it to be, and I was very impressed. I enjoyed it quite a lot.
Space Pirate Harlock was also a good one.
Did you just say? Did you speak English?
Space Pirate Harlock.
Yeah, never
Okay.
heard of that one. But
I also
Castlevania's awesome.
recommend like 15 other animes for Joe to watch.
I'm not a huge anime person. Like growing up, I think the only one I ever really watched was Dragon Ball Z, and that
Okay, so I watched Dragon Ball Z, where YouTube video where they cut down a lot of the stupid
yeah,
stuff.
you
Yeah.
sent it to me, and you talked about it a couple weeks ago on the show.
Hours.
which is awesome.
But
So
yeah, I watched that, but only the Frieza saga. I've never seen any of the rest of Dragon Ball Z, so I don't know. I haven't really been a big anime person, but I did really like Castlevania. I thought it was really cool.
So before we get into the news, I'm gonna let Rook take over on the news here in just a second. But I want to bring this up because actually one of our listeners brought it up in our nerd channel on our Discord, discord.gg/raw podcast. Join it. And that was the whole Microsoft's new console and what they've been doing. Slade, thank you for bringing this up. It was a good conversation. And he basically was talking about how, and I've been hearing a lot about this all over the industry, some of my friends are still in it, that Microsoft is planning on doing what they call a reduced system. So they're going to be making it like a little mini dumb PC. And it's going to be primarily streaming. So the whole point of this is to use their Xbox online platform that we use, for Madden, and use that as the base, as like their OS for the system. But the cool thing about it is two things that are both ways you can go about this. On the positive side, it's going to make the system cost between $100 and $200. You hook up to a TV and just stream. The bad thing, obviously, is you got to have a solid internet, which most people do nowadays. That it's more than enough to cover it.
Have what?
Solid internet,
Oh, okay.
like 30 by 30 by 5 would be like considered the minimum.
Right.
Most people have that, and I don't know of a gamer who has less than that. But also the fact that you don't really own games anymore. But they're going to be using the Microsoft platform where you can buy games, but it's just digital copies. There's not going to the whole idea of physical media is just gone. And I want to know what you guys thought about that.
I agree with a lot of the articles and a lot of the statements out there about you paying money to use the license of something and not actually outright buying a copy of the media.
I don't like it
That's what I'm
because
saying.
because of the whole situation that happened with what was it, Crunchyroll or whatever, where all those people lost all those animes that they had bought on there because they didn't have the physical copy. They were just buying the license, and then all of a sudden that company sells out to another, and they don't want to. They're like, oh well, we're not gonna, honor these other licenses that you had. Now you have to buy new ones. Like if they start doing that with our games, no.
It's the same thing with Steam.
They already do it.
Yeah,
with games. Steam does
I know
that.
that's what I worry about. That's why with Steam, I'm very picky with what I buy on Steam, just because of that. Like any game, like for instance, Final Fantasy Rebirth. When I got that game, I bought the physical copy of that game. I'm not going to buy the digital copy because I want to own that game. I don't want to ever have a chance of not owning that game because they decided they don't want to do it no more.
One thing I have noticed with Steam, if you have the game and it's already downloaded, or you have it in your library and they delist it, you still have it. Nobody else can get it, but you will still have it. That is something that they're actually doing, and I've seen that. It's the Hideo Kojima horror game they did the, what's that game called, demo for? People still have that demo, but
Death
you
Stranding
can't
or
buy
whatever
it
it was.
Yeah, you just can't get the game. You can't get it anymore, but people who have it still have it. So
Yeah. Plus,
Steam
they're
is
taking away a
honoring their
huge
stuff.
market. Like, think about it. Okay, so if you have a collection of original NES games, you're sitting on a little mini gold mine because those games are worth money nowadays. 20 years from now, the games we own, they're not going to be worth jack because we don't own any games. All we own is a license to play the game, which we may or may not in 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're taking away the collector aspect of, like, a lot of gamers and stuff are also like game collectors, and you're taking that away from us. Like,
I kind of like the idea of like the subscription plan with Microsoft. I don't have to spend $70 a pop for a game I'm going to play for maybe 10, 15 hours to get bored of and never play again.
Okay, that's a different story though. I do like Game Pass. I like that. I like the fact that I have access to all those games at my fingertips and stuff. But on the flip side, like if I go on Game Pass and I'm like, okay, I bought the original. We're just gonna use this as an example. I own this game anyway, but say I go on Game Pass and I'm like, man, this Starfield game's really good. I'll go out and buy a copy of the game, so that when that one leaves Game Pass, I know I can still play that game. I mean, it gives me the opportunity. Like I used to. I don't know if any of you guys remember this. I'm gonna date myself again, but me and one of my best friends when I was younger used to have the Sega Channel, which was essentially the same thing. It was through your cable provider. You plugged it into your Sega, it plugged into the cable, and you'd get like 70 different games every month, and every month they'd change out what games were on there, and you could just play all the games. And it was a subscription-based service.
The
It was essentially the same thing, and I loved it. And the games I really, really liked, I would go out and find a copy of and buy.
I have 2 points. First, my issue with it is Joe's having this issue right now. MLB 24, he can't see it on his Xbox. I can't see 23. So if we wanted to play 23 together, we wouldn't be able to do that. Because
It wouldn't
they've
even
already
let me
fucked
play
out.
23 though. It's the only
Yeah,
game
but
on
what
that.
I'm saying,
Yeah,
but even if we had it, we wouldn't be able to because it's no longer there. Now, the second point is from a developer's point of view and the producer's, or is it producer? Not producer. Production company, not production. What's the word I'm looking for? EA, is it? I can't think of. No, it starts with a P. It's the developers, BioWare, and then
publisher.
Publisher. There you go.
Yeah,
To me, I don't know the business app models and I don't know what they think of this, but if I was a publisher, I wouldn't want that either because I don't make as much money if I'm not selling the actual copies of the game.
no, they get a lot of money from streaming. Actually, they will end up making more.
Okay.
A lot of them are signing in for that. For every like play, every hour, they get money based off of it from the Xbox, from Microsoft. And if you think about it on this way, guys, there is no such thing as physical media anymore. Like if you buy a game off a shelf, it's now just a digital code, but you have to redeem on one of those platforms, whether it be Xbox, whether it be Steam. You don't own those games anymore.
Right.
So I'd rather
Just
pay
own the rights.
that monthly subscription, which is a lot cheaper in the long run for me, play whatever game I want, and not have to worry about it.
See,
Okay,
okay,
that
so
makes
the
sense.
biggest problem I have with that, though, is let me ask you what you would do in this situation. What if you didn't own Starfield, right? You were playing it through the Xbox subscription, right?
Technically, I don't.
I mean, well, you have Starfield. Like you could play it without Xbox, right?
No, you
Yes.
need the Xbox platform.
You can
But
turn
you don't have to have the subscription to play it though. You have to
No.
play it through the Xbox, or through the Xbox app, but you don't have to. Like you could turn off your Xbox Premium or whatever, and
You
still
can-
play Starfield.
You can make the Xbox app, whatever computer you're using it on, as your offline PC, and you can play it that way. Yes.
Right, you could play it without. But if you didn't, if we didn't pre-order it and have it that way like we did, and we were just playing it through Xbox Live with day one access and all that stuff. Now, what happens next month when Xbox Live decides we're going to take this game off of Xbox Live for a while? Now you can't play it no more. Now you're 400 hours into the game. You're in the middle of
Well, that's why they do
whatever it
it.
is you're doing for the show, and then all of a sudden now it's not there anymore, and you're like, eh. That
No,
sucks.
it goes. Well, that's why they do it both ways. They have the pay platform, but you have to go through their engine, obviously, their platform. But you can buy the game where it won't come off license. But you also have the other flip side of it, and keeping it both is definitely key.
Yeah, you got to keep it both. If they go like full on into the subscription service, then you're just at.
There was
whim
no
of
talk about
whatever.
just doing subscription. It was just using the actual Xbox platform, which
Yeah,
does
it's-
contain both.
Now,
It's
what they
kind of the same situation as like Netflix. When say you're in the middle of a series and then all of a sudden they decide they're going to take that series off, you're like, but I wasn't done yet. So,
yeah.
and
So
games are even worse.
I get what they want to do, and for a consumer, that actually makes more sense because, like Joe said, it is $20 a month for the Ultimate Edition of Xbox Game Pass is a lot cheaper than $70 for this game, $70 for this game, $70 for this game. So for the average consumer that is not a big hardcore gamer, it makes sense. for hardcore gamers such as me and Widget and Archon, it iffy 50-50 on what they think.
The problem the biggest problem I have with like the Xbox Live service is what's kind of going on right now though, is that at any time they could just be like, "Oh, I'm glad that you guys enjoyed our Xbox Live service at $7.99 a month, but now we're going to increase the price to $22.99 a month, and you're gonna pay it because you don't have any other option because you want to play these games every month." And yeah, hope you like it.
It's the same
And
thing
then-
with games used to be $40, now they're 80.
Right.
Inflation is going to happen, unfortunately.
But
I mean,
instead of
can't keep
games
it-
being $40 and paying for them once, you're now paying $22.99 every single month.
Yeah,
for a
man,
library of
cost
200
them-
games.
And
Yeah,
it doesn't
that
cost
is a
them
big
any more. Okay, let's be fair though. In that library of 200 games, I think I play like maybe 4 of them
There's
All right.
currently 12 I have listed I want to play eventually.
eventually, but you're not.
I
Actively
don't have the
playing them
time to
each
do
month.
that.
That's what I'm saying. You're not actively playing them each month. You're,
But it
you're
allowed
only
us,
playing,
for
like,
instance-
1 or 2 of them each month.
It allowed us, all three of us, to get on Madden and play that together without each of us having to pay $90 for the stupid game.
This is true.
And we can play that season. And if we get done with the season, we're done with it. We don't have to worry about it
But
anymore.
I can see both sides of the argument, but I lean more so towards Archon's side just because I won't be paying, say Starfield. I got 400 hours in this game. That is more time I will have spent from launch at $15 a month more than what I've spent to buy the game. So in
For
that
sure.
situation, it is not worth it. It's worth it for me to buy the game. But if I'm one of those people who has a house full of kids that like to play multiple different games and can't decide what game they want
Oh,
to play,
for sure.
then it makes sense because then I'm not having to go out and buy all these different games. They're just jumping and playing whatever game they want to play.
Yeah, like I have 4 kids. Like they all have different tastes. They all want to play different games. So when each one gets on, they play different games. That's where you really get the value out of it. Is if you have a household like that multiple
Mhm.
people are playing.
Yeah, I'm
But-
excited with the idea of having a system like that that's going to cost me $150 instead of $800. That's why I don't own a system right now.
Did Steam try something like that with their Steam Deck?
Yeah, but the streaming, that was way before they actually had the whole streaming platform stable enough.
Is this going to be like an Xbox that hooks to your TV or something?
Yeah, it's a home console that's going to be basically off of streaming.
Okay, so what?
It's going to be
Okay.
like the Xbox Series X without the disc drive.
So then explain this to me. What is going to be the difference between spending $150 on this system so that you can play it on your TV and hooking an HDMI cord from your computer to your television and just playing those same games through your computer like we do now?
They're not banking the money off of the console. They're banking their money off of Xbox. The app.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. What like Joe's talking about, like wanting to buy this $150 console. Like, why would you buy that console when you can literally do the exact same
So,
thing with the
Here's
PC
my question
have
for
now?
you on this one.
Uh-huh.
High-end gaming PCs are roughly $1,200 to $2,000.
But I already own a high-end gaming
If
PC.
I did think about the people who don't own high-end PCs, where they actually have to go and buying that console for them will be cheaper than going out and buying a high-end gaming PC.
But they already,
gamers.
those are the same, the people they're targeting are the same people who already have Xbox Series X's. Like, again, you could do the same thing
The
on your
big
Series
thing
X.
that they've also mentioned a lot was wanting to unify gaming. So no longer is it PC exclusive, console, Xbox exclusive. They want to bring it all under one platform. So you could play a PC game on your home console, vice versa. Like they do, like you can play Xbox games now on my PC.
Right.
Mhm.
And I do. I play them all. I don't have an Xbox. I play everything
I
through
like
my
getting rid
PC.
of exclusives. I love the idea that they're getting rid of exclusives.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm all for it.
We had the discussion last week about what games sold those consoles.
Yep.
You might not have agreed with it, but they were exclusives to those games or those consoles. Now, MLB The Show until 2019 was exclusive to PlayStation. Now we can play it on PC through the Xbox app.
But the thing is are you going to be able to get these big players like PlayStation and Xbox to agree to that? Like, is Xbox just gonna be like, all right, Halo's up for grabs. If you want to make it too, go ahead, PlayStation. Like, I don't see that
See,
happening with a
that
lot
is
of these.
something that needs to change because Starfield is not on PlayStation.
And
So
I
you
don't think it
still
will
have
be
that
because
issue.
doesn't Xbox own the Bethesda?
Microsoft owns Bethesda, yes.
Yeah, so like that's never gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, right now Microsoft is actually working with Sony to unify their systems. So Sony's still being stubborn and won't put over their exclusives yet, but Microsoft's been releasing their exclusives systematically with Sony, trying to get that unified.
And even if those two somehow come up with some awesome deal and it really benefits all the
Then you got
gamers,
Nintendo.
you are never going to see Mario on Xbox. It's never going to happen. Nintendo will.
Oh, they're way too
always
stubborn.
be there.
They would do
They're
so much
always gonna
better
be
if
there
they did
separate.
that. I've said it for so many years. My Nintendo has amazing video game software. They have for many years. If they released that for every system, I think personally they would make so much more off of it than just
Here's
trying to
what
keep it exclusive.
And I agree with you on that one. What they should do is Nintendo sticks with the handheld consoles because they're great at those. And then also release those handheld titles to the big systems like Xbox and Sony, and then license out. You'll have license agreements with the big manufacturers to produce these games on the big at higher quality, and then you're still holding the handheld market, which nobody else does as good as you. It's money in the bank if they do that.
Yeah,
The problem
I agree.
With that for Nintendo, though. Here's the problem with that for Nintendo, though. Nintendo is their games are so good because of the quality they put. Nintendo is about quality. They release
I don't see a problem with
a lot of
that.
quality games.
We're not
If
talking
they-
about.
No,
we're
what
not
I'm
talking
saying
about
is they
changing the
start
quality.
releasing these titles to PlayStation and Xbox, and we're going to start getting Mario games that are crap.
No,
How would that be
Yeah.
different than what they already released? There's be no difference.
Because
It's just a port.
Yeah,
I
we're
don't
just
know.
talking about a license to port over. We're not talking about a license to create the games themselves.
You want to know how it can be different? Look at Mortal Kombat 11 on Nintendo.
It looks like crap.
It's the same game, just ported, but it is
Well,
trash.
That's the difference, though, because you're taking a system that has less graphic capability and porting the same game to a higher graphics capability. It's going to look the same as on that small one. It's the other way around where it looks like trash. So if they're releasing from their Nintendo Switch, which doesn't have the same graphic quality as as Microsoft or Sony, and
you're
put it
talking
into
just
PCs,
ports.
just ports, yeah. If they
You're
just
talking
went
just
through
ports.
straight software licensing, they would make bank
It's
because
It's
of the quality of their games. It wouldn't change the graphics at all. In fact, it might even enhance them a little bit, but it would still be the same game.
okay. It would be the same game. However, let me play the devil's advocate here. Would you buy a Nintendo Switch if you could play the same Mario or Zelda game on a PlayStation with better graphics?
Yes, and you know why?
Because it's handheld.
Because I can take that Switch with me when I'm on my trips, and if I can cross save, then
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
and I can just pick it up and go with wherever I'm at versus having to lug an Xbox or a PlayStation.
And that would be awesome, but I guarantee you, they would end up losing some sales there, big time sales there, because people would be like, well, I already have a PlayStation. If I can get the Zelda game now, there's no reason for me to buy a Switch. There's no reason for me to buy the Switch copy because I already have the PlayStation copy. So, I mean, there's definitely going to still be a loss in sales there.
Not necessarily,
I think there
because
would be.
I have played Mortal Kombat on the console. Then I got it on the Switch because it was easy. I could take it with me when I'm at the airport, when I go on vacation somewhere. It's just in my pocket, ready to go. So I don't think it will hurt their sales for the Switch that much because more
No.
people want mobile platforms. The same people who have bought the Switch, there's games on that Switch that you can literally play on an Xbox or a PlayStation right now, and people still play them on both.
You know, I think we're touching on what could be the future of gaming, a future that I hope happens. So you don't have to have 15 different systems to play the games you want to play, and you can just play the game on whatever platform you choose.
Mm-hmm.
That would be amazing.
Right, and that's where I'm talking about the loss of sales, because right now, if I want to play a Mario game, I have to buy a Nintendo system.
It wouldn't be a loss of sales. In fact, if you look at how much it costs to make them, every system loses money per sell. It's the software that makes the money. I believe like the Sony PlayStation is $120 deficit every time they sell a system. It's around that, and the
somewhere around
Switch
there,
is no
yeah.
different. It's like $40 or $50 deficit, something like that. So it's all about the software. It's all about the video games.
But if we could get the greedy corporations to actually talk to each other and actually want to do this, then we would have to go, hey, look, we mentioned it first. We want to cut of the deal.
Yeah, this little
Yeah.
show called Raw and Nerdy. Yeah, we talked in length about it for half of an episode.
Half of an episode. I don't even know if we're gonna get to the news today.
I was getting ready to tell Rook, you can pick one or two, buddy, that you that you want to do, and we'll do them really quick.
If that,
Alright.
we're getting like we're up there already.
Yeah.
All right, so there are two I want to talk about, and one of them is the freeze drying turned a woolly mammoth DNA into 3D chrome.
When I read this, dude, my brain went completely the wrong direction because they mentioned beef jerky and how the mammoth DNA when it's dried was like glass-like, and I kept thinking, wonder how mammoth jerky would taste. Would that be any good? They go into further different things about it. My brain went off.
I mean, I've never had elephant jerky, and it would probably be similar.
So the whole article is about they found DNA that was freeze dried for 52,000 years, and it was literally the 3D makeup of the chromosomes. They could actually see it in a 3D model and seeing what genes were still active and all that. And it was actually really cool. That was what they were touching on this article. And they said they can use it to actually learn more about the woolly mammoths and DNA in general that way. It's actually
Clone 'em.
really cool.
Use it to clone them.
No, don't clone them.
Get
The
us woolly
next-
mammoths back.
The next one, I'll let y'all choose. Nuclear bomb produced isotope about vegetation cycles with carbon dioxide, or the Southwest Airlines taxi.
I was gonna say the meteor showers, but that's me and my space nerd.
That's easy.
The first one you said you hardly were able to even say it, so let's not do that one.
All right, Southwest Airlines and Archer Aviation are working together to make plans to fly air taxis in California. And the big thing about this is Archer Aviation has completed its transition flight for what they call the Midnight. It is their electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft that they're going to be using for this. And it just, on June 12th, had its milestone of completing that flight. And if they do this, I'm not sure what I think about it. It might make it easier for like traveling to the really expensive cities like San Francisco and San Diego.
So
to
are
where
we
you can
talking
live
like
further away.
are we talking like Lilu Dallas multipass type thing here, little air taxis? Like
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a little air taxi to be able to take you to places. And I think that's going to work better for people who can't afford to live in those cities to actually live in affordable housing areas and then just take these taxis into the city.
except for I can't imagine they'd be all that cheap. They would have to require some type of jet fuel or something, which isn't exactly the cheapest commodity.
Actually, no. Like I said, it's electric vertical takeoff and landing. It's all electric.
Electric.
Yeah, the aircraft is, let's see, it's a piloted 4-passenger aircraft designed to perform rapid back-to-back flights with minimal charge time between flights. Yeah, its goal is to replace 60-minute commutes by car with an estimated 10 to 20-minute electric air taxi flight. And they've been Archer's been working on this for a while, and they're based out of Texas. If anybody wants to look them up.
I feel it.
And then
like, every time I think of air travel like that, I think it would be really difficult to like maintain. Like, what's the word I'm talking about? What's the word I'm looking for? Like traffic control. Like you can't put stop signs in midair.
Moderate
Like,
traffic the same way they
Yeah.
do airplanes. They already have set programs that will keep the aircraft from each other, especially on all the commercial airlines. They now have things that'll keep them from each other to keep from crashing into each other.
Right, but
They call
that's
it
like
auto
big
TCAS.
aircrafts. That's not like
You can put that in
tons
small
of
aircraft.
little ones.
Literally,
We're
all it
talking
is.
tons of them.
All it is a little antenna and a box that goes inside the aircraft, and the aircraft determines, this is me, you're here, you go this way, I'm going to go this way to avoid each other.
Listen, what do you know about aircraft anyway?
No, I've worked on it for 22 years, you tell me.
Just kidding.
All right, and the last thing we'll say really fast. Where is the dates? So the Perseid meteor shower.
The meteor shower event of the year is what they call it.
It runs from July 14th through September 1st with the peak being
In
the
August,
night
right?
of Monday, August 11th,
Oh,
through
mid
Tuesday,
August.
August 12th.
So it starts today as we're recording, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Being out here in the desert, you can see these meteor showers very, very well.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah,
can
you guys
drive
don't
like
have
30
near as
minutes and get
much-
away from the light radiation.
You don't have
the
near as
light.
much light pollution, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Pollution.
There's one spot, and there's a little town called Mojave here in California, that there is a mountain called Soledad. It used to be Silver Queen and Soledad. They were the original Mojave, the old gold mining areas. And I don't know if it's just the wind or what, but if you go off an on-ramp, Silver Queen Road, and go up there, then it's the clearest I've ever seen the sky outside of being in the ocean.
I see that that clear when you're also over in Red Rock Canyon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Once you get away from the lights, everything.
It's also
looks
Red Rock
way-
Canyon's also very windy. I wonder if it has something to do with it, like just getting away with the standard pollution.
Well, it does. If you look, Lancaster and Palmdale have less pollution than, say, L.A.
Yeah, in Bakersfield, you can't see anything. You probably see 3 stars the most. It's the most
Yeah.
polluted area in California.
So they recommend the peak is around 0400 or 4 a.m. UTC, which is going to be about midnight Eastern time, which would put it, 9 Pacific?
Yeah, 9 p.m. Pacific.
So it might actually be harder for us to see because we're rolling on 7 p.m. and it's still light outside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
it
got
gets dark around 9 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, this is a very, very good episode, guys. I'm definitely going to be naming it something to do with like video game consoles or something, or future of
The
gaming.
future,
Yeah,
future of gaming.
Yeah, there you go.
we went on a little bit of one of our little famous tangents there. I like it.
Came out really, really well. Good arguments.
It's almost like I predicted at the beginning of the show. Well, right before the show.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap up the show. Unless there's any last chance to say anything else.
Anything else?
Yep, I was expecting that one.
Me too.
You can reach this show for advertising for any kind of business. Podcastraw@gmail.com. One of the best ways to get a hold of myself, Archon, or Rook is on our Discord. I do answer most any private messages that come to me on Discord. Our Discord is discord.gg/raw podcasts. Our Facebook is Raw Podcasts. Our X or /Twitter is podcast or @podcast raw. And our Instagram,
Raw Podcast 1.
I am all over the map tonight. Sorry about that. You can follow us individually. I am at The Widget, THEWIGIT, on pretty much everything. And if I'm not that, you can search it and you'll find me.
You can find me everywhere at some variation of Tomcat213, except for Steam and X. I'm at Rook213 on those.
And you can find me on pretty much all social media as the Archon606 and all video game platforms pretty much as Quick QWICK_D_606.
Thank you so much for listening, everybody, and have a fantastic nerdy week.
Y'all stay nerdy.
Have a great week, guys.